A lot of the information that you hear on social media about Asia tends to be outdated for about 10 years because a lot of the times, a lot of the information comes from Asian Americans who haven't been back in Asia for 10 years. Those in Asia don't love white people as much as they used to back in the day. Their reputation is quickly going down the drain, and you have all these white people who come to Asia thinking they're going to be treated like celebrities and end up going home disappointed because they just got ignored. As someone who lives on stolen land of white people, I always knew that this was going to happen because let me tell you guys something about white people. They can have a massive, massive head start and they will always somehow find a way it up. Look at the United States of America. The British Empire fell because of World War II, but the American Empire is falling because of themselves. They're literally just sabotaging themselves. You would think like with a massive lead over everyone else, you could use that to your advantage to develop yourself, but that's no fun. You know what's more fun? Bombing other countries. The golden days for white people around the 2000s, the 2010s, where all you had to be was white and people would give you the red carpet treatment. Everyone wanted to be friends with you. You get attentive service everywhere you go. You can take your pick of anyone you wanted to sleep with, and you could get into clubs without paying because just your very existence was enough of a draw. Normally, or at least in my mind, this is what people would normally do, is if you walk into a room and someone all of a sudden gives you the red carpet treatment, I'd be like, wait, like, why is this happening? Like, why is that happening only to me? Like, am I gonna get charged at the end of this? Am I gonna get a ginormous bill? Oh no. And then I would lead with humility and gratitude. White people, if you give them an inch, they will take 5 miles and see no problem with it. Because in their minds, they have these inflated egos that makes them think that they deserve the world. They have the mind of a colonizer. They didn't see this as hospitality or white privilege. They saw this as oh yeah, I deserve this. This is exactly how I should be treated. And so they carried themselves with entitlement, which doesn't work in Asia that values humility. As the Asian people got to know these foreigners a little bit better, they all collectively realized the same thing, that these foreigners are all an LBH. Losers back home. These are the people who finished university, barely finished university, with some useless degree, and so obviously they can't find a job because their degree is useless and they have no idea what they want to do with their lives, and so they decided to around in Asia for a couple of years and teach English. For a lot of these foreigners, Asia was never really their first choice. Asia was just used as their playground. While Asia sends their best and brightest to the West sends Asia their leftovers. And do not take the politeness of Asians for granted. They do not tolerate disrespect. From the perspective of Asians, these foreigners have no utility. They don't come from a family of wealth, or else why would they become English teachers? So they have no connections. They are from the middle of nowhere rural America, and so the only thing that they really bring to the table is their white skin. And so there's a saying here that goes, white people, they're just for fun. They're just for like a fling here and there, but they're not someone to be taken seriously as a real partner. I will admit there is a part of me that feels a little bit bad for them, but like at the same time, they don't really have anyone else but themselves to blame. If they had just coasted off their white privilege, remained humble and likable, then they could have just maintained their lead. But instead, in true white fashion, they had to do too much and became irritating.
If you come out here and you're just like, I want a Japanese girlfriend, and then she becomes your girlfriend after the 3rd date, and you're like, well, that was kind of fast, but I did it anyways because she expected me to, so I have to do everything that she expects me to. That's the precedent that I'm going to set, and then I'm going to be miserable and just bend the knee for the rest of my life. You get into that relationship and she ain't returning your calls immediately. She's talking to Kyosuke-san at her work. She may be hooked up with Shota. They went out for sake after work the other night, and they fooled around in the karaoke booth. Yeah.